Window to China and Xinyu has reached out to the hundreds of Chinese community, Asian community, and American community on performance, interview in education, politics, culture, etc. It's a link for all the communities. Xinyu and Judy Wu, the publisher AC Business, are making joint efforts to promote the program on Newspaper Weekly. Window to China and Xinyu is a 30 minutes long English program. It will be available on YouTube, Facebook, Google+, AC Business News by keywords Window to China and Xinyu. Welcome to Window to China. I'm pleased to welcome representative of Loudoun County and Fairfax County activists. So they are Kathy, Joan, and Jalmeen. Welcome to you. Can you introduce yourself?
Yes. Hi, I'm Kathy Shupe with Loudoun County, and I am a local activist. I have been pretty active since 2008. Worked on both presidential campaigns, mostly the second campaign. The last campaign was Kathleen Murphy, who won by 1 vote in Loudoun, and we love her. So that's pretty much it for me.
Welcome.
And my name's Joan Kowalski. I live in Loudoun too, and my favorite thing to do is knock on the doors of everybody in the county and make sure they come out and vote and they know about our Democratic candidates, and I would do it for the rest of my life if I could.
Thank you.
I'm Jalmeen. I live in Fairfax County, grassroots volunteer. I basically got active in 2012 presidential election, and then I helped Kathleen Murphy, especially in the special election, making the phone calls and doing for the special election for the. And we are glad that she won this time, and we want her to win again in November, and I host the phone banks for all the candidates.
I know the grassroots campaign is so important. So I just wonder what makes you politically active?
I became impassioned about the politics in Loudoun County. I moved from Maryland to Virginia, and I was actually shocked at the way people talked about other people. This may sound insignificant, but it was critical to me, motivating. I felt that the people that were being elected were the same people that were keeping other people out, hurting other people. It just was shocking to me. I felt like I had gone back to the 60s, where I grew up in South Carolina. So that was key to me, my reaction to how people behaved toward other people in Loudoun County.
I think we should elect quality candidate, not something we cannot represent for us.
Yes.
What's your story?
My story is, I think if you live in Loudoun County, you can't help but be active politically, because the county is so unique in the way that it just sort of toggles back and forth between being red and blue, and it's so incredibly exciting to watch that sort of shifting back and forth depending on the times, depending on what's happening nationally. It reflects all the way down to even your district. It's that interesting. I can't imagine anybody staying at home in Loudoun County. Really.
Thank you.
I moved from Pennsylvania, and even in Pennsylvania, being a foreigner, we and my kids were picked up. Okay, you are not one of us. Then when I moved to McLean, my kids faced the same thing again. And that was really strange to me, being such an advanced country, and people are not take you what you are because of your color. And then when I see other side doing more like that, that makes me more active. That sitting home, pulling your hair is not the answer. It's time to do something rather grumbling. And that was my main thing to be.
I think we need active late from now, because you cannot complain until you personally involved in. So what have you done for the local election and the presidential election in the past few years?
I was a volunteer, and I did canvassing, Joan's favorite thing to do, and I loved it as well. I did phone banks. Eventually, there were 11 of us in Loudoun County for the second campaign, and we went all over the county from 2010 until the day of the election. Grassroots, knocking doors, phone calls, you name it, we were doing it. And then when the real team came in, the paid people, we folded in with them and continued on. And a lot of that was, that's probably the most exciting time I've ever had. I mean, that was amazing with the president.
So I know several of you have received the award. That means you have done a lot of work. So what do you believe, you really think the grass campaign is important?
I think that even if a campaign has millions and millions and millions of dollars, there's still the need for face-to-face contact with the voters in the most local areas possible. You cannot replace that. You cannot replace that with money, with time, with a great candidate. There's nothing else but face-to-face contact with voters, and to have that skill, which is a developed skill, but to have it and to be able to offer it to a campaign, well, to me, it's incredibly proud. It's sort of changed my life, which is maybe a little bit corny, but I can offer something from all the way from a national campaign all the way down to a small district run, and I feel that what I do cannot be replaced by any other resource. It's exciting.
So you're unique, special to us.
Yes, I am.
Okay. How about you? What do you believe?
Well, in 2018 presidential election, I started knocking on the doors, but in 2012 election, I realized it is better for me to host the phone banks. And in 2012, I used to host 4 phone banks a week. So that way, I'll get to know more volunteers, and I feel I make more contact with people making the phone calls rather walking distance. And even if somebody is not happy with you, still, you don't show them your annoyance. And then it makes a whole lot difference that people will listen to you and let them know what your candidate is doing and what is right. I'm not saying everybody thinks their candidate is right, but if you see seriously, the middle class should be aware what is right for them before they vote.
Yes.
I think the voters and the volunteers are the key for the elections. What is the essence of campaign for the public office?
What is the essence for a
Right.
campaign? I believe you have to get your message out through your volunteers. I really believe that, as we're all talking here, if you can connect over the phone with somebody, that's critical. If you can connect door to door, face to face with someone, that's critical, because you can give them the message. You can tell them what your own message is, and if your candidate is able to get his or her message out through the volunteers, I believe that that's probably one of the most effective things you can do.
Who decided the message, then the strategies for the candidates? I mean, you have several candidates; they are all different.
Right.
So who make that decision?
The campaign manager does make that decision, and they and the candidate. Those are the people that make the candidate makes the final decision. The campaign manager advises him or her, and they really are responsible for whatever message that they give out, whoever the candidate is.
Do they have you met any candidates? They don't know how to do it. They don't know how to start their own campaign.
I've watched through my involvement. I've seen different candidates start in different ways. Some are very experienced. They have a very good speaking presence, and they're used to talking to groups, and they're used to making phone calls to people they don't know and that sort of thing. I've also seen candidates that are new to, they're shyer, and they have a slower jump off point. But the interesting thing about that is I've also felt that I've been able to gather information from when I knock on doors and when I talk to people. You can gather information that then comes back to the campaign, and then the message changes because of the information we've been able to get. So it's not just a matter of, here's the message, go out and tell it. It kind of is cyclical. Here's a message we're going to try, and we all go out and we try it. We help them make adjustments based on how the responses went, and then that just is sort of it sort of builds the campaign, and it builds the confidence of the candidate, and it's just a whole sort of back and forth that occurs. And I've seen candidates that are very shy in the beginning, and by the end they are just movie stars. It's wonderful, and to be able to be a part of that.
What do you think, what kind of qualified candidates we are really looking for in Northern Virginia?
Well, in my mind, the hard part in my mind is that there's two different things that happen with a candidate. There's the candidate who, once elected, would be the best worker, sits on the board of supervisors for years and years, knows how to do a budget, knows everything about everything.
That's good enough?
Yes. Yeah. but is shy, has not been in the public eye. But that one is a good campaigner, but not necessarily a good worker after he gets elected. The key is to have a candidate who's got a little bit of both, who's a good campaigner, can talk to people he doesn't know, make phone calls, raise funds, do all that exciting stuff, but still, once elected, can then roll up his or her sleeves and get going. And it's hard to find that person, but you know him or her when you see him.
I think not only volunteers as voters have that responsibility to send out the message to people. I think the candidates should talk with people and listen to people what they need. This really help them to make their campaigns be very successful.
Exactly.
So how do you think that volunteers are so important?
The volunteers are important because, see, the candidate gets the feeding from the volunteers, what the general public is looking for, what they want, where they're suffering. And there the candidate make the decision and approach that and put that agenda in the campaign. Look, this is what I will do for you guys if you support me. So the basic thing campaign has is the feeding of the grassroots, and the strong grassroots who does from the heart, not for the sake of doing it. And that's what the whole basic is.
I think as the coordinator probably is important. As you have this experience, how do you work together with the candidates? during the campaign?
During a campaign,
So what do you do?
I think it's critical that I acknowledge the strengths of the volunteers and truly appreciate the time that they're giving. And it actually is important because I've done that. I've done both the volunteering and I've been paid. And the volunteers are, to me, the most important people in a campaign other than the candidate, because they are giving free of their time for this candidate, and it's what they want, and they're the message on the ground. And I really mean this. I don't think we should ever turn away a volunteer. I think if there's something that a volunteer is good at, then you put that volunteer there and you use that volunteer that way. I think it's critical.
So except for recruiting the volunteers, so how do you connect with local leaders or candidates?
Yeah, that's a good, me personally, I've been around long enough now that I do know the local Democratic activists
you're important.
from Northern. I know who they are, and I've helped them, and they help me. And I think that's the key. I think if you're going to ask people to give free of their time, then you need to be also working. You can't be just there as fluff during a campaign. And I think that's important. I think if they see me working, then they're more willing to work, because I represent the candidate at a different level myself. And I've felt that very strongly about that. That concerns me in campaigns. If there's somebody working on a campaign being paid, and if they treat a volunteer, or they don't themselves do work while volunteers are there working, I have a problem with that. So that's one of the things that I communicate to the campaign manager. And that's a way for me to help not only the volunteers, but to help the candidate. And there's other ways. I also, at one point, show up at different places if the candidate can't be there. I think that's what you're asking more about, that role, right? The paid role. And communicating back what all the volunteers are saying, the messages on the ground. As Joan and Jalmeen were talking about what people are saying when they get in contact. All that information goes to the campaign manager.
Have you have any experience like volunteers have been turning down? So they say probably they are not legal, they don't know how to work for the candidate, maybe they send the wrong message. Have you have any experience like that? I
have not ever seen that. I think there's a place for everyone, and there is a place for everyone. The only thing that I notice sometimes is that people tell me that they don't want to do it because they feel too shy.
Oh,
and
that's normal.
Yes, but it is, you can break through that so easily. And I meet people who would be so perfect at it, and they just say, no, I'm just too shy, I can't do it, I can't do it. It's the thing that I wish the most that I could help people with, because I felt the same way in the beginning, and I just pushed through that. It's pretty wonderful once you're able to have that talent, that skill to offer to campaigns. So.
Do you usually set somebody give volunteers training, help them how to do the work, send out the message as most as possible? So do you have that kind of person during the campaign? What is the basic instruction?
That's the field director's position. I mean, the field director is closely involved with the campaign manager. In fact, probably more than people realize in all campaigns, all of them, from local to the president. And the field director gives designs, choreographs the message, and how to train volunteers through his field people. And then the field people train Joan, Jalmeen, me even. If I'm doing the volunteer coordinating, they may say, hey, Kathy, you're not quite right with that message. And that has happened. And they help me as well. So, I mean, that's pretty important too.
I know you have several candidates for their election, but before the election, do you have any idea to know this candidate is going to win or not? For example, like the straw roll or some service, it's accountable?
You mean like the straw poll?
Yes.
Okay.
Is it accountable? So
Yes.
sometimes they say, oh,
That's popularity, in
Okay.
my opinion, in the straw poll. I think it's who's popular at the more at the local leadership level. I think, like going to Jerry Connolly's.
Right.
There,
Yes.
you know.
Yeah.
Democrats are the ones going there.
Right.
And they're typically the people that are contributing, I believe, to the campaigns, et cetera, the local leaders, people that are really invested in it, not paid people, they're all volunteers as well. And I think that they select, and I think it's who's popular among the Democrats at that time.
It's interesting you would ask that because right now in Loudoun County, we, even though it's an off most regions, 2015 is a huge year for Loudoun County because we have a full board of supervisors that we want to try and turn over. We've got state senators, House of Delegates people. We've got a lot. The Democrats have over 30 candidates for this that are running this year, all the way from district level all the way up to state level positions. And so it's interesting how the party, the official Democratic Party in Loudoun County, goes about finding candidates to fill all 30 of those positions. And some of it is casual and just meeting people that are interested. Part of it is very official. It's interesting to see how you get a candidate who feels confident enough to go ahead and try and run, and then to get behind them all and start pushing. And this part I've never experienced until now, and it's all very interesting still.
I think that this country can make all the dream come true.
Yes.
How about Jalmeen? Have you ever think about you going to be a candidate someday, or?
You're kidding me? I'm happy
not?
what I'm doing it because it makes more sense, and I feel real blessed that I'm able to do something for this country, because I came to the country which is a major Democrat country in the world, and my family was very much active there, and now I feel it's my time to do something for this society and for this country, but not as a candidate, but as a grassroots volunteer.
Perfect.
Yes.
Yeah, I know we are all women, so in this show, I mean, it's appreciate what you have done, but what about a woman candidate? Do you have special a passion for it?
I do. I absolutely have a passion for women being elected. I believe we are 11 to 15% of elected positions in the United States, and aren't we 51% of the population? So yeah, I play it pretty low key, but I'm very invested in the women races in Loudoun County. We have some exciting races. Exciting.
Yeah.
We've got Kathleen Murphy, we've got Jennifer Wexton, we've got
Phyllis Randall.
we've got Jennifer Boysko,
Yes.
Liz Miller.
Oh my
Who am I
gosh.
missing?
Who are
I'm
we-
Jennifer
yeah.
Wexton.
Yes.
You should watch our show. So how excited we are. We are not a candidate.
Yes.
Yeah,
We have
it's a
one-
huge year for the woman.
We have wonderful candidates for this year.
Yes.
Oh, Barbara Favola.
That's what I'm saying.
Oh,
Barbara
yeah, we
Favola.
love her.
Yes.
We love her.
Yes.
And it's not that we have anything about the male candidates, but we have wonderful candidates as a woman, and we want them to be winners, because that's where they can relate to us easily, that what the women want.
Yes.
and that's where we should be supporting all good candidates.
Okay, how about Jonah? I want to hear you. What's your feel about?
Oh my goodness, no, are you kidding? Are you kidding? Because oh my gosh, oh, no, I'm too shy.
Everybody can see it's not true.
I just like to do what I'm doing, and it works so well, and it's so important and so helpful to the candidates. But Loudoun County's got a lot of wonderful women running for posts this year. Part of it has to do with Hillary Clinton sort of hovering over, the umbrella, but mostly it's just because it's time. Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah, and we've got some great candidates.
Yeah, I think so. I liked Hillary too. I just read her book. It's a hard choice. Maybe next time we can still get together.
Yes.
Reading her book.
Ooh, I
It's a huge book,
Yes.
But a lot of things is her own experience. Whatever is the international diplomacy
Yes.
or her experience at the White House, so as First Lady, wow, that's amazing.
Right.
Yes.
I mean, I just would like to see more women candidates. I thought this is really encouraging. So for me, like as a mom, as this has own career, I know it's how hard for us to get the time to be involved in politically or go out to be very actively. So I mean, as the message, we see more candidates, women candidates, successful, so more encouragement for all the people, no matter race, no matter gender, so we're going to be successful.
Yes.
Thank you for your coming today.
Thank
Then
you.
we will wrap up.
Thank you.
I will see you next time. Thank you for watching.